I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Start off in a D chord, okay, and then we use the pads of the Louis Armstrong. Okay, Louis Armstrong is the song. We use the pads of the second finger to bar these top two strings, and we also use the third finger on the next to the bottom string on the second fret. So all three of these top strings on the second fret are barred, and this bottom one's left open. That's a D. Now to do a D augmented, we can do that chord, and if you want, you can just put your pinky up on the top string here on the third fret. So D, D augmented, G, G with a little grace note, and the G is middle finger, bottom string, index finger next to the top string on the second fret, both on the second fret, and the third finger on the third fret next to the bottom string. Sort of a little triangle. The three fingers make a triangle. So we start off again. D, D augmented, G, and then we go to A7th, which is really easy to do because all we do is we let go of everything except this finger. We keep this pressed and we just slide it down one. And that's our A7th. So D, D augmented, G, and then see how I did that? I just slid it down. I see, then you go to D. Trees of green. This is another pretty easy transition because you're barring, you're doing that D chord, you're barring the top two on the second fret with the third string as well. All you do is lift up that middle finger to where it's not with the pads anymore, it's with the tip on the string, and then just cover the note that it released with the index finger on the first fret, so it's just one note lower. I see trees of green, that's so D, F sharp minor, trees of green, G, which I already showed you, red roses too, back to F sharp minor, then we go to E minor 7th, I see them bloom, okay, I see them, E minor 7th is sort of like a E7th, but it has the third finger on the second fret, second finger on the second fret next to the top string, E minor 7th, okay. I see them bloom, D, which I already showed you, And then we go to, it calls for an F sharp 7th, but on the ukulele a lot of times you can just get away with a part of the chord, and I'm going to do an F sharp. I could do the F7th would be there. I don't really necessarily need that. I could do the F7th, but it's the index finger on the next to the bottom string, 2nd fret, the index finger on the 1st fret next to the top string, and the 3rd finger on the top string, 3rd fret. So you can see that. I'm going to show it really close. You can see the fingering on that. For me and you. And then to B minor, which are these 2 middle strings with the pads of the 3rd finger, and this bottom one with the 3rd finger. Sort of a bar chord. Trees of green. So D, F sharp minor, G, F sharp minor, E minor 7th, D, F sharp 7th, B minor, and I think, and this is a B flat or an A sharp index finger on next to the bottom string on the 1st fret, next string up, next string up. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd fret, and all on different strings, kind of ascending like a little staircase. For myself, what a wonderful. So back to that E minor 7th we already learned. What a wonderful world. E minor 7th to A 7th, which is just that one string pressed down and all of them played. Index finger on the next to the top string on the 1st fret. It's A 7th. World, D, G, D. Then we go back to that A 7th. The colors of the rainbow. Then to D. So pretty in the sky. Or A 7th, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends, B minor, we already learned it, shaking hands, saying, how do you do? So it's a B minor and A. Friends shaking hands, A, B minor, A. They're really B minor. Then this is a F sharp diminished, B minor. You just slide up and put the index finger on the 2nd fret next to the bottom string, the 2nd finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd from the top string, and on the bottom string, the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret. You can just play all of them. This one you can play with that too. It makes sort of a diminished chord. They're really saying. Then you just slide back down to an E minor 7th. I love you. Let me just run through that again because that was a little bit confusing. Okay. Friends shaking hands saying B minor A, B minor, F sharp diminished, E minor 7th, A 7th. I love you. Then I hear D, babies, F sharp minor, cry. G, I watch them grow, F sharp minor, E minor 7th, they'll learn much more, D, that's D, F sharp 7th, then I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Now, okay, now I think to myself, that's the A sharp, E minor, what a A 7th, wonderful world, D, then we go to D 7th. It's actually a different chord, but I'm using a D 7th here as a substitute. D, D 7th, B 7th, and I could hit that B note if I want. I think E minor 7th, think for myself. Now I do a bar chord here with the index finger, and then I just put the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret next to the bottom string. Wonderful, then to D. And I can just slide this up and then place the other one in place. So it just slides all together. You don't even have to lift it. It's kind of a guide. Use it as a fulcrum. Wonderful world, D, then G, G minor. See, the G transitions really nicely into a G minor because you don't have to move this note here. This one stays right here the whole time. And you just switch these fingers. This index finger goes to the 1st fret, 1st string, or the bottom string I should say, and then the middle finger jumps from the bottom string on the 2nd fret to the 3rd string on the, so G to G minor. What a wonderful world. And then you can finish on D.